everyone, my name is Bree.
My name's Jay, and you're listening to WhiteWashed. So, on today's subject, we're going to be talking about toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And it came about because one day I was like scrolling through Facebook, and I had seen like there was this video of this girl. She was just at the gas station. She was trying to pump gas, but like there was literally like 30 men surrounding her and harassing her, calling her a bitch, saying like that she should be pimped out and like all this other stuff. And like the guy recording's like, you've never been called a bitch in your life, have you? Have you? And like you just see it was just so disgusting because she was literally just trying to get gas and leave, and it didn't stop until another girl came up and was trying to pump gas. And like I seen that and I just sent it straight to you. I
Yeah,
was like,
when I
we're talking about
when
this.
I got that, I was like literally in shock because I remember that video going viral a couple years ago, but I was a kid and I was just like, "Oh, this is a funny video. This is her friends." Until you
Hmm.
sent it to me again, and I read the comments, and these were strangers, and they were like, I feel like there were six of them, literally forming a circle around this poor girl who's just trying to get gas. And yeah, when you said that we want to talk about this, I was like, yep, this is something that has been spoken about within the female community in my Desi community, but no one is strong enough to talk about it, like to other people, to the elders. Um, but yeah, that video was crazy.
Yeah, and it just brought me back to like like the segue of like what it means being a man in like the black community.
Hmm.
And like it because culturally I feel like it's somehow the same but different. Again, it like varies in different ways.
Hmm.
But as I was talking to my coworker about like being a man and masculinity in like the black community, and she has like three boys and one girl, and she was like, she said, no, I would not want my son to be gay. And at first I was like expecting it to be like some like homophobic or like, but she was like, no, not for the reason like I'll accept him if he's gay, but I want him to be a man and be gay. And I was just like, what? She goes, she said, I can't afford a soft black son.
Hmm.
No one like in the black community, you can't afford to be soft. And that's just kind of how I grew up as well. Like you can't really be soft like as a black person.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so especially when it comes to men. Like I feel like one thing about like white people in general is that they're very much more open to their son being a little soft or like
A little
not,
feminine.
yes, or like dealing with their emotions, opposed to it being like the black community where it's like man up and like sit and shut the fuck up if you're in pain.
Mhm.
And that's something that I feel like it's really we're trying to diverge from, but if we're going to be real, like there's still a real big problem in the black community with being a man.
Do you think that kind of stems from homophobia as well? Because if you're feminine and you're soft, it kind of means you're gay, even though you might not be. You're just a feminine dude who grew up around sisters. You come off as gay, and I know there's a lot of homophobia in both of our communities.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that was something I had actually learned more recently. Being gay, especially like back in like the slave days and stuff like that, they would literally rape the biggest, man and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And they did that a lot. And so like, a black person being gay, like gross, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
And
it's like what is it, like ancestral trauma.
very much so. And so it's just one of those things where ignorance is bliss in this community where it's just like, oh, like, what makes a man? And that's one of my biggest fears, like being a mom, and especially if my son does come out with my skin color and is as dark as me, because I know that I would rather him be gay than him to be what the black community defines as a man.
Hmm.
And because I know how toxic it is and how hurtful it is to other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
What are your fears like, because you are brown, and when you have like, you ever have a brown son, what are some of the things that you're like scared of that is going to be projected onto him that you feel is toxic in the Daisy community?
So luckily, I'm I'm privileged enough to not face racism on a daily basis like you know how you deal with. So when it comes to like my parents, they're very approving of gay people. Um, I just think that if they ended up, if we ended up living in a Desi community, I think they would definitely be shunned upon because it is in the Quran where like you shouldn't be gay or something like that. I don't exactly know, don't quote me on it, but I know it's something about a religion. But our religion approves of gay people. They just don't accept or gay men acting like women and gay women acting like men. Like you have to be either a masculine gay person as a boy or a feminine lesbian as a girl. And so if my son is gay and very feminine, I would kind of have to protect him from the Desi community. But I think that luckily my culture, since we came from Asia and the Middle East, and we came here and we learned that, hey, you're allowed to be soft, and not a lot of women even want tough men because their dads are tough men. And their
Mm-hmm.
dads, like my dad, who used to be super tough, never talked to me, never talked to any of us, went to work, came home, ate, and went to sleep. I never saw him laugh. But he changed after he saw what the American dads look like and how they act. Or American meaning I wouldn't say white, but like the American communities, how my
Yeah.
dad's coworkers would talk about their kids in such a good way, and my dad didn't know anything about us, and he couldn't talk about it. I think that my generation has definitely come across that bridge, and it's like most women that are my age and my generation want a softer man. They want a more emotional man and a man who knows how to handle his emotions because Desi men or maybe men in general are very emotional, but they take it out with anger. If you're sad, you throw
Mm-hmm.
things. If you're angry, you throw things. Even if you're happy, you throw things. You punch a wall, you break a mirror. So that's not what we want. We've seen our dads act like that. That is not what we want. So I think it was a very drastic change in a very short amount of time. And that's why a lot of girls and I think it's only girls who've done it. Men still kind of act like their own dads. So that's why a lot of they see women you see go towards other races, like I did. I don't really like our community because there's so much pressure. I actually haven't like dealt with a lot of toxic masculinity in my community because my parents have protected me from it. I got really lucky. My parents protected me from it. My dad, the only thing I experienced, like I said, was my dad was just really distant for a long time. My brother is younger than me, and he's not allowed to go out like that anyways. Like he can't go out and with his buddies late at night. So I've never experienced it, but I did go on my Facebook page. If you're a brown woman, a Desi woman, I do recommend this Facebook page called Brown Girls Rising. Excuse me. It's called Brown Girls Rising, and it's just about Desi female empowerment. And if you are in an interracial relationship, there's another Facebook group called South Asian Women in Interracial Relationships. My favorite group ever. I love it so much. But so then I posted, yeah, they're amazing. Like they help a
Yeah,
lot
I
with
know you. Yeah, anytime you, because there's sometimes where you'll hit me with some questions, and because I'm not Daisy,
right.
and I mean, I date Daisy men, but it's just like I can't give you the type of perspective because I still there's some parts where I have a like American mentality where I'm like, just leave, just tell
Yeah.
him, just yeah,
Yeah, I think it's like when people tell me, you need to do what's best for you because 20 years from now, you're the one that's going to be with this man. And I'm like, yeah, but like, that's not how my parents think. Like,
yeah.
that's why I don't ask white people or like any other culture for advice when it comes to this stuff. So then I posted, I said, my friend and I are talking about toxic masculinity. Um, Personally, I've experienced that, so I wanted to ask for your experiences. This one girl, I'm not going to name her name, but she said that she experienced it where she had never seen her dad cry in her life. She has never seen her dad cry. And when she asked her dad why, he said that that's a woman's thing.
Oh,
Yeah, that's crazy. That was a lot of the responses I got was my dad never cried. Um, let's see, there was one. It says, my dad is not okay with being groomed. He would never get a pedicure, manicure, or even
mm,
cut his own nails. My dad showered, but he rarely got his hair cut. That's crazy.
See, no, okay, so actually, one of the things I do remember, because my dad, it was really weird. He had a lot of like he exhibited a lot of the toxic masculinity, but one of the things he, for some reason, is he made sure he had chapstick on him at all times, and he made sure to have his nails like finely done. Like he'd do it himself. He thought going to an actual nail salon was just not it, but like he made sure he had like clear polish on it, and like they were always perfectly
Wow,
trimmed.
even polish?
Yes, clear,
Wow.
but only clear, only clear.
Right.
Don't, yeah, don't mistake with any other color. And he was just like, he stepped there, cause that's kind of gross. Like you look at another man's hands and it'd be dirt underneath their nails. You know, I need my female to know I at least take care of my hands. Like he's up there, and that's why you always gotta have chapstick on you too. That was how I started buying Carmax.
That's so funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always my dad likes chapstick. My dad actually is a pretty feminine man, actually. Well, when we moved to Houston from Dallas, my dad got a little more attached with us, and he just learned to be more feminine. He cuts his own hair now. He dyes his hair. My dad dyes his hair. Yeah,
Oh.
because he's getting white hair, so he dyes it. Um, and yeah, I feel like, and he's dressing really nice lately. He goes shopping. I've never seen him go shopping. My mom always shopped for him, and he goes shopping and he tries out clothes. He even gives us a little fashion show. So my dad, raising three girls and two of them being older, we're all like two of us are adults now. And then of course his wife. I think he's becoming a little more feminine, but in a good way, I think, because you do have to kind of adjust to what kind of kids you have, you know. And I think my parents did that in a really good way. Um, But yeah, other than that, I don't think I've experienced toxic masculinity. I did, one thing I can talk about is my ex-boyfriend. He was black, and so he experienced the outmost, like, and he was the oldest kid in his family.
Mm-hmm.
And he dealt with a lot of it. They wouldn't even let him sleep on a bed. I don't know why. It was really weird. They said that the youngest son, or the one after him, has to get it, has to have the bed. Um, they were like, he had to go work. None of his siblings had to work. And he gave all his money to his family. Like, and he never got a chance to have it for himself. It was really weird. They just, without asking for his permission, made him the man of the household. When there was a man of the household, they had his grandpa. And he wasn't even that old, you know. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing I can talk about. Have you ever experienced toxic masculinity against yourself? Like somebody, like a man doing something that you're not allowed to do?
You know what? Not so much. Not again, because my mom, she was pretty fair about raising us, except for like the whole dating aspect, which is normal. Like, the guy can date because he can't bring home any babies, but you can.
Right. Which
So,
is
but that,
wrong. I feel like a guy can also bring home babies.
yeah, if that woman don't want it, there ain't nothing keeping her. Like, I hate that. But I think more so when I was younger, I'd psych myself out of doing like activities that were manly or
Oh,
like
okay.
deemed as masculine,
Yeah.
because I felt like I was kind of conditioned, and I don't know why I was conditioned or how I was conditioned, because again my mom, she she's not like exactly a feminist, but she's also not like the you're a woman, you should do this, or you're a man, you,
Mhm.
yeah, she so I remember like whenever I would have like guy friends, and partly when I was growing up, or like at least like elementary school, I felt it was weird to have a guy friend, because it's like guys belong with guys and girls belong with girls.
Yeah.
And so anytime I would hang out with, like, I remember I was hanging out with my neighbors, and it was a whole bunch of boys. And it felt weird to hang out with them, and they would be like, and I think one time they were trying to get me to climb a tree. And I climbed trees by myself. But for some reason around like the boys, I didn't want to do that. And I was like, he said, "Can you even climb a tree, or is that too girly for you to do?" Because I would,
Oh, damn.
yes, but that was my fault, because I would sit there and tell him, like, there's certain activities that belong to a girl, and there's certain activities that belong to a guy. And like, of course, it would be like, I think it was like football one time or something. And I was like, yes, and I'm a girl, so I don't do stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
that's
now I
just the
look
kid's
back,
mentality, though, you
yeah,
can't really blame yourself. But
yeah, but
one thing,
I wouldn't have. Dang, I should have been a young feminist in the making, even when I was like 11, not no, I was like 8. when that happened.
Yeah, you're pretty older for a kid. One thing, actually, I just realized that I do kind of deal with, maybe it might not be toxic masculinity, but it is unfairness. My sisters and I do all the housework. My brother, who's 15, turning 15 in November, doesn't do shit. He doesn't do shit. And at first I was like, oh, we're older. Of course we're gonna do the work. My little sister is 10 and she does some
Mm.
work and my brother doesn't. And I just realized that. I don't know how. I'm gonna go pick a fight tonight at dinner at the dinner table. Anyways, let's have a little segment for Halloween because I would like to know what your because we still have some time, so I would like to ask what are your opinions about Halloween costumes that white people don't think are racist but are actually racist? Pocahontas costume. What do you think?
Shockingly, I think it's racist. No, I'm kidding. I no, it is extremely, extremely racist. And
Right?
like growing up, like it's so sad because I always feel because one there's someone's culture is not a costume. A character
Right.
is a costume, not someone's culture. And especially, I always feel like the natives are done so like the natives and indigenous people are done so wrong when it comes to like Halloween.
Right.
Um, and like Mexican costumes, girl, I'll be ready to fight someone that has like they'll have those fake little fringes to make it seem like dirty or poor or stuff like that. Like that stuff is
Or the
absolutely.
the skull from
Mhm.
Diaz de los
Mhm.
Muertos.
Yeah.
Like
Girl.
we can't wear that. We're not allowed to. Only Hispanic people or Mexican people are. I think one thing that I'm kind of confused about is the Egyptian costume because I know that the way that they dress, no one dresses like that anymore.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I stay away from it since it is somebody else's culture, but I don't know if you've seen Trisha Paytas did a video on
Oh,
TikTok.
girl, okay. I actually, cause I don't know what it is about her, but the stuff she does is like funny because it's so like she knows it's wrong and
Yeah,
she
you saw
continues to
the
do it.
caption?
Yes. Like
Props
she,
delete, props offensive.
yes,
Yeah.
like I just be like, but it was low key funny because like I'll go back and watch those videos. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. It is a
I
really satisfying video to watch.
It really is. And she actually lip syncs or whatever to it really well.
She does. Oh my God, I don't know if you've seen, but she has an OnlyFans. And I didn't like, I mean, I don't have OnlyFans, like I don't watch PORN on OnlyFans.
Hmm.
But I went to her Twitter. I don't know, I was looking something up. This girl had her booty hole spread wide open on Twitter. I'll send it to you. But if y'all want to see it, just go on her Twitter. And she has her OnlyFans content on Twitter, which I don't understand why, because it's free. Twitter's free. Why are you letting people see that stuff for free? But yeah, she has
Isn't
everything.
she
There's a
Jewish
video.
now? I know she's finding an interest in Islam, so y'all watch
Oh,
out.
oh
Yep.
no.
Oh yeah. She said, "I love y'all culture." She said something in her interview. She was like something like, "I love you guys' culture. I love this. I love that.
Oh
So I
God.
want to do it next." I was like, "Bitch, what?"
What do you mean next? You can't just jump from religion to religion.
Uh-huh. I know.
No. Like other religions you can dabble into, but Islam, you have to kind of be in or out.
Yeah, that see that's why like because we've had this talk multiple times where like I'll consider like Islam and stuff like that, but I honestly want to feel like I'm 100% ready to give my all to there. And
Hmm.
I know like one of the hardest things again that I've talked to you about is like the whole modesty part where it's like dressing modestly and stuff like
Right.
that because girl,
It's
I love a
hard. It's hard to
yes.
dress modest, especially in the Texas heat.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there was one TikTok where she was like, she said, "I'm tired of y'all asking if I'm hot in that. Yes, I am hot in this."
Oh, she was the hijabi girl. I think I've seen it.
I'm
Like
like,
you
well,
just and from someone who was born and raised as a Muslim, always had one foot out the door because there's just something about me wanting to do it myself instead of being born into it that I've been trying to do. And I just don't feel like I'm completely ready to be considered a Muslim. And I'm just gonna stay on the sidelines. I'm gonna be modest. I'm gonna be, nice to people. I'm gonna still have my morals, but I'm not completely ready to dive in. So I respect it. I don't wear the hijab. And if Trisha Paytas wears a hijab, the entire Muslim community is gonna come to get her. Like the Muslim community is crazy. I don't know if you've ever
Oh, girl,
seen
yes, yes.
anybody who
Again, that
talks, yeah, anyone who talks shit about Islam, people come. We're worse than Christians. I promise you.
I see it because I was like, because I don't know why I held Muslim and Islam like on this like higher level, like where I was like, y'all can do no wrong, and then I see y'all like I think they came for like there's this one Christian guy that on TikTok that talks shit about Islam. They came for him fast. Or if you're like a hijabi and you do something that they feel is like
Oh my
haram,
God, yeah, the haram police.
oh my God, like
See,
they'll be
okay,
down her
I'm
neck.
glad you brought that up. Toxic masculinity and the haram police literally go hand in hand because you never seen the haram police attack a man. And do you remember we were talking yesterday? I was explaining to you about how it's not only women who have to dress modestly, it's also men. So men have to grow a beard, men can wear tank tops, men can wear shorts. And if a woman is not being modest, you have to move your eyes down. You cannot look at her, you have to walk with your head down. You're not supposed to say anything to women that don't dress modestly. You just look away. And I think the haram police forgets that it's haram to attack a woman for not dressing modestly unless you're like her family. So the haram police is doing sins basically.
Like that.
And
Oof.
like you don't see the haram police attacking Muslims that aren't wearing shirts. What about the Muslim men who dye their hair? Muslim men are not allowed to dye their hair. Y'all don't say anything to them because lately in the Desi community it's been a trend for boys to get highlights, and my dad won't let my brother get highlights for that exact reason. The haram police is so messed up. Like I've never seen anybody attack men like that. But women, you have a hijabi with a little piece of hair out, like it's really hard to cover your hair, especially because the reason of the hijab is to cover your beauty for anyone who doesn't deserve to see it.
Ooh, I like that. That
That's the
that
whole
make me feel
point.
like a bad
So it's
bitch.
hard to hide your beauty. You want to feel beautiful. People
Mm.
are just not ready to hide their beauty yet and consider their hijab their beauty, and it's okay. And I
Yeah, again, I think, and that's something that like I also see is like because everyone has different pathways, and I feel like sometimes like the harm police will like, oh my God, why did you take off your hijab? You know, and you because you never know their personal story. You never know if they were one of the ones that were actually forced into wearing it, and they felt like they weren't ready. And
mm-mm.
like that's something that like that's what scares me about like if I like do eventually like convert like if I slip up, like who's gonna be coming down my neck talking about, girl, that is not how you wear that, or
See,
girl, like,
I think that that's only on the internet. No one is gonna do that in real life, you know.
okay,
They'll talk behind your back, but that's not gonna affect you. I think that one thing that a lot of people are scared of converting into Islam is that you have to wear a hijab. You don't have to wear a hijab. I don't wear a hijab. Of course, it's a sin to not wear one, but it's a forgiven sin, in my opinion. Some people just don't have the mental capacity to not to wear a hijab, and I'm one of them. It's okay. I think it's okay.
hmm
The hijab shouldn't be forced on anybody. I think a woman should fully accept herself and then wear a hijab. Because if it's forced and you're not wearing, you're not getting the good points for it. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know we went on a little rant towards the end, but that's all that we have for today. We'll see you in the next episode.
bye guys.
Bye.